Yo, what's going on, man? Another bad day for me. I've skipped the intro, man. Cashed it with Chris, morning show, NBA betting show, sponsored by Basketball Forever Podcast Network. Took it on the chin again last night, man. Not running from my losses though. Not one of those handicappers that run from his losses. 1-4 night yesterday. We had D'Angelo Russell. I tweeted about it yesterday. Dude on the shelf. He on the shelf, bro. Off D'Angelo. But I watched the beginning of the game and I saw Anthony Edwards get hot. He was coming down looking for a shot, coming off a 10-point game too. You kind of got to expect that against Cleveland. So I still feel like it was the right read, though. I feel like it was the right read, but I'll probably stay off the player props just for the time being, and still play a little bit lighter too. It's a lot of parity in the NBA. I talked about it yesterday during the NBA Crispy Captain show. But I appreciate you guys for being here as always in the morning with me, KC. I see you, DJ. Good vibes for sure. We need the good vibes, especially when you're going through, when you're going through some turmoil, man. I always say you could run from it, you can stop betting, but the work that you do, the hard work that you do to come up with the size that you want, whether it's a prop, it's a total, it's a spread, whatever the case might be, it's a money line play. You're just gonna lose out on that. So trust your process. Like I always say, I'm gonna keep trusting my process and we're gonna keep grinding. I'm still doing shows and the winning will come. I'm certain the winning will come. But yeah, D'Angelo, I told you guys yesterday in the space I was playing this a half unit on both, right? So didn't go crazy on them. Also strong lean to the Washington Wizards not to be able to cover that 5, and they didn't. But of course, I didn't play that. Golden State smacked up last night by the Phoenix Suns. I didn't even watch most of that game. And then the my play of the day was the Atlanta Hawks. Love the spot for them. They couldn't make a shot, man. If you watched the game, you saw that they were just missing. Jason Brown, and Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. Shout out to Pritchard too. Pritchard, Grant Williams, sidestep threes. Dude looked like he was in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Bucks last year. I mean, absolutely on fire last night. I don't know if people was watching that or not, but I watched the whole thing. They could never, Atlanta could never get over the hump. I still like the spot for Atlanta, though. I love the spot for Atlanta. I told you guys yesterday, the only thing I didn't like about that play was that Atlanta was coming off a win. Atlanta functions, at least this season so far, since they've got DeJounte, they function better off a loss. I think they were 0-2 off a win, which is the only thing I didn't like. So now they moved to 0-3 off a win. So it's been really hard for them to um, win consecutive ball games. So that's the only reason that's the only thing that talked me off of that spot though. Giving me that spot again, I'm taking them again. I don't think that Atlanta loses that game at the crib, especially against the upper echelon teams in the Eastern Conference. And especially without, being shorthanded, without having Brogdon, without having Marcus Smart, two of their better defenders. But not fading Boston anytime soon. These guys can score the ball. They pick and choose their spots when they're gonna play extremely hard defense, and they ball. Hauser played well too, blocking shots, hitting shots. Dude looked like he could fill in for Robert Williams. It was crazy watching him play last night. Zachariah says it's always about the bounce back for sure, and it's always about picking and choosing your spots too, man. Separating your leans from your officials. I've been trashed the last few days though. 1-4 yesterday, 1-4 the day before that. So 2-8 over the last 2 days. And it's difficult to keep going, man. It's difficult to keep going when you're going through a spot like that. You think about not just the losses, but the people that's tailing you. You think about the money that you're losing. Like, every single play I've ever given out, I put money on. How do you spot the upset alert? More so a spot thing. Know something. You got to look at the spot, man. Like when these teams, like the Knicks, for example, last night, that was a great upset spot. They played well the day before in Utah, and you worried about the altitude, but as soon as Jokic goes out the game, it's like, okay, the Knicks probably be able to keep this one close, especially after having the team meeting. That was a nice upset alert yesterday. Do, 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 do. And I think so that was it. We got 3 games I want to get into. We only got 3 games total today, so I want to get into these games and talk about what I've what I've come up with, what I've seen so far, uh, and give you guys some looks for these games. So first game up, let's go to the Nets and the Blazers. So this Nets team coming in here after giving up 153 points in their last game against the Sacramento Kings. This will be the fourth game of their road trip as well. 2 straight losses for them dating back to Sunday when they lost to the Lakers after beating the Clippers on Friday, I think. So this Brooklyn team had been looking really good, and they've taken a step back offensively on Sunday against the Lakers. The Lakers held them to under 100 points. And then defensively against the Kings, and this Kings team is good, man. They're really, really solid. Uh, I'll talk a little bit more about them because they do play the San Antonio Spurs, so I'll get into that game. But this Nets team is going to be interesting to see how they respond. Typically on a 4-game road trip, it can go one of two ways because you have two really big variables in this game. One is the fourth game and final game of a 4-game road trip, right? So you got to figure, are teams just looking to get back home? Like, do they just want to hurry up and get back to Brooklyn? Because they miss their family, they want to see their pets, right? Like, do you just want to get this game over with, or do you take the latter to that is do you take offense with giving up 150 points to the Sacramento Kings? And looking at the interviews, right? I went back and watched the interviews. I watched Ben Simmons, who has played horrifically so far this season. Looking at Kevin Durant, he had to sit down interview with Chris Haynes, and listening to Coach Jock Vaughn. I think that they are frustrated by the loss, but it's more so like they're just giving credit to Sacramento. Like, Sacramento hit shots, they played hard. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see, right? I think that they do come out fired up. But they talked about it not being a lack of effort. They tried. Sacramento just got hot, and sometimes that happens, right? Sacramento hadn't scored 150 points, I think, in like the last 15 years. So, nights like that, we see it all the time with Golden State. Like, it's nothing you can really do about it when everybody gets going. It don't matter what defense you put out there. So on the opposite side, though, this Blazers team, this is the second game back home after the win against San Antonio. You either got a push or a loss because they only won that game by 7. It was on the wrong side of the total. I took the under 224, under 226 in that game on Tuesday. And they had to fight hard to win against San Antonio. They were actually losing in the fourth quarter. But this Blazer team, they pulled out the win. You see Damian Lillard get a stop late in that game against Devin Vassell. Jeremy Grant has been hooping for them. This Blazer team, they're the best ATS team in the league. 11-3 ATS, 7-3 in their last 10 against the spread. So, now back home, kind of settled in. The total in this one opened at 220, and I got an interesting look on the total. I do feel like I know I lost the last total I gave out. It was an underplay. Hit on the over in the Boston Celtics and the Oklahoma City Thunder game the other day. I kind of feel like this game goes under too, right? So these teams did split last year. Brooklyn won at home by 5. Portland won in their home game by 6. But one of the interesting SDQL queries that I ran was, and I've talked about these before, teams coming off losses of 30 points or more this season, they're 6-1 against the spread in their following game. So that would be an indication to kind of back Brooklyn. You typically don't want to you don't want to play against the team that just lost by 30 or that's giving up 150 points. Typically they're going to come out with something. But like I said, it's the last game of a road trip, so it's going to be interesting to see how they respond. Those teams that have lost by 30 points or more and that are 6-1 against the spread this season, they're 5-2 to the under in that following game as well. And they're actually winning those games by 2 points. So that's a play on the under and a play on Brooklyn if you're following that trend. The same trend dating back to last season, teams are 50, 37, and 2 ATS. That's a 57.5% cover rate in their next game. 49 and 40 to the under. That's a 56% cover rate when the total is set at 220 or lower in those games. They've gone under 8 of 11 times. 73% of the time the game goes under when you're coming off a 30-point loss. Yeah, when you're coming off a loss dating back to last season. So for the Portland side, they're coming off a previous home win, and their home favorites again of just 2.5 points. So one of the things I looked at was that, right? So um dating back to, I want to say last season, I pulled this query for teams coming off a previous home win that are home favorites in their next game, but it's a small spread. This one opened at 2.5, it's down to 2. So just, coming off a previous home win and still home favorites in the next game, but it's a small spread of just 2.5 or less. They're 27-15 to the under, 64% as well. So this game should go under. A lot of trends pointing to the under. I haven't played anything official yet, if I'm being honest with you guys. Jeremy Grant, I talked about him just a tad bit. His point prop sitting at 20.5. This guy has been killing. If you go back and check the box scores, or if you've been watching the games, he's gone over in 4 straight games in 6 of his last 7. His point prop is sitting at 2.5 for plus money. He said that 4 straight. He said at least 4 threes in 3 of his last 4 games. And just really been killing. I do think that Brooklyn is going to play much better defense than they played against Sacramento. Portland can score, but they more so rely on their offense. So I don't expect them to be able to go off with the same kind of offensive explosion that we saw, the Sacramento Kings do. And I do expect Portland to play a little bit better, being that it's their second game back at the crib, and they're actually a really good team. They got playoff aspirations and championship aspirations, if you ask Nasir Little, reading into his quotes. But that's kind of what I got for you guys in that game. Anybody else looking at anything before I move on? LJ said, top of the morning, Chris. I cashed Wolves first quarter, Boston first half. We talked about the Knicks, too. I see you cashed on the Knicks. Knicks first half, too. Warriors came up short. Yeah, Warriors did come up short, LJ. They came up real short. Defense kind of reverted back to what we knew. Rockets upset last night as well. Yeah, I kind of talked about not taking the Rockets to win outright, but if you're going to take the Rockets, you want to do it against a team that's kind of a one-trick pony. And we know how much Luka means to that team. And without having him, second night of a back-to-back, 3rd and 4 for the Dallas Mavericks. I talked about Spencer Dinwiddie playing 40-plus minutes the night before. So you really had to rely on other guys to step up and make plays, and you didn't see that as much. The Rockets were also coming off the bad loss against the Clippers, where I talked about them being extremely frustrated and trying to contend more. So that was a good one. Shout out to everybody who cashed on the Dallas on the Houston Rockets last night. LJ said Rockets was an easy cash. OKC can beat anyone in the league. Shout out to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Dude was hooping. I watched that game. I watched the first half and then caught the fourth quarter, and he hit the step back 3-pointer. Can score at will. If you don't have a rim protector, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander going for probably 40 every single game if he need to. Jeff, good morning to you, my brother. He said nice win with Indiana yesterday. LaMelo, bad beat on the points and rebounds. Yeah, LaMelo, he'll work himself back into shape. Indiana's been playing well, man. I know Tyrese Halliburton was not he finished the first quarter with 1 assist and still ended up getting the 10 assists. So slow first quarter, Indiana picked it up. That was the one win. I didn't talk about the win. I don't really want to talk about it too much because I still lost. But we did cash, if you guys tell the Miles Turner rebounds. I said 8.5 was a little too low, and he finished with 10. So that was a cash. Moving along though, let's keep going. So we got that game out the way. Spurs and the Kings next game up. So spreading this one is at 7. Total is extremely high at 237.5, but it's for a good reason. So third game in 4 nights for the Spurs. They've been traveling a lot. They lost in Golden State, got smacked up in that game. Then they went to Portland, played them tight, lost by 7 on Tuesday. Yesterday was a rest day and a day for them to travel to Sacramento to get ready for the game tonight. On the opposite side, you get a Kings team. They've won 4 games in a row, covered 5 games in a row, and 6 of their last 7. This is their 3rd straight game at the crib before they host Detroit. They got a nice little break. They don't play Detroit until Monday. This Kings team, man, they are really, really good. They've scored at least is scoring the ball. They've scored at least 120 points in their last 4 games, including that 153-point effort on Brooklyn on Tuesday. And when I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about, the San Antonio Spurs aren't going to be that good. They're a team that's tanking, but they play extremely hard. They have a winning culture down there in San Antonio with Greg Popovich at the helm of that, of course. But this Spurs team has struggled against teams that also can score the ball, like really score the ball. Teams that can't score the ball, they typically, we've seen them get upset wins over the Minnesota Timberwolves when they were struggling at the beginning of the season to figure out their offense. We see the Spurs beat the Bulls. We know that the Bulls, they struggle to score at times throughout the season, specifically early in the season. And I mean, even now, they still struggle to score the ball. Against this Kings team, though, against teams that actually light it up, is really difficult for the Spurs to kind of keep up because their defense is just pedestrian. They're giving up so many points right now, man. The Spurs are also just 1-4 ATS in their last 5 games in Sacramento, and also just 4-9 ATS in their last 13 meetings, no matter where the games are being played. The only injury news that I saw in this one is Keegan Murray being listed as questionable. San Antonio, they're allowing the 8th most points over the last 5 games. The Kings are allowing the 5th most points over the last 5 games as well, though. The Kings, however, have the second highest plus minus at their a plus 9.8 points over the past 5 games. A lot of that has to do with the 30-point win over the Brooklyn Nets. But this team can score, man. Whenever you can keep up with Golden State, Phoenix did last night as well. You got to be, looking to play the Kings in some form of way. Maybe it's team total over, even though the total is already set really, really high at 237. That might be the highest total I've seen set so far this season. I have to double check that one, but I don't think we've seen a total this high. I think the Kings could blow the doors off the Spurs today if they take them serious. I don't know how serious they're going to take them, especially, on the 3rd game in 4 nights for the Kings. Being at home for the King. I'm sorry, 3rd game in 4 nights for the San Antonio Spurs, especially with the Kings being at home, 3rd straight home game. Nothing official for me on this one, but I'll probably look to back the Sacramento Kings in some form of way. I don't think they score 150 points again, but it wouldn't surprise me if they got to 130 on, just being a really hot team right now. And we've talked about them, due to come up. They caught some bad breaks early on in the season. Specifically the game in Miami, they didn't get Tyler Hero for the travel. And then they lost the game in Golden State against the Warriors when Kevin Huerter got fouled on the 3-point attempt at the end. They didn't call that foul. So I do think the Kings kind of keep it moving. They definitely keep it going tonight for sure. Last game on the slate today, 3-game slate, is the Pistons and the Clippers. So this one opened at 10 in favor of the Clippers. Total opened at 216. So the books are expecting a lot of points. The Pistons, first straight road game for them on this West Coast trip. This will be a spot where they're, coming out west. They'll get the Clippers, they'll get the Lakers, and I want to say it's one more game that they also have as well. So West Coast trip for them, coming off 2 days rest. They still won't have Cade in this game. I don't even know if he made the trip with them out west. They've lost 4 games in a row, and they have also had 3 straight pushes, depending on where you have gotten the closing line. I think they were 9-point dogs, 9-point dogs, and 4-point dogs, and they've got a push on every single one of them. The Clippers, on the opposite side, 3rd game in 4 nights, coming off the loss in Dallas two nights ago. And the night before that, they beat Houston. They've won 3 of their last 5 and covered 4 of their last 5. This will be the biggest spread, though, for the Clippers that they've laid all season. So if you're taking the Clippers, minus the 10, they haven't covered a 10-point spread all season. They actually haven't covered a spread bigger than 6 all season, and that was against the Rockets. They covered that one, but they've lost as 8.5-point favorites against the Rockets as well, because they played them 3 times already, and they lost as 7-point favorites against the Thunder. This Clippers defense is really, really good. I think that they could lock the Pistons up. The Pistons also having to travel, East Coast all the way out west, different time zone. Makes me think that it'll be a struggle for them to be able to score in this game as well, especially without Cade being there to kind of initiate that offense. Jaden Ivey has done the best that he can. Bogdanovich has done the best that he can. But this Clippers defense can be really, really good. We saw it against Dallas in the second half after they kind of woke up. And I think the total could still go under 2. I don't see the Pistons scoring a lot of points traveling from East Coast to West Coast. And the Clippers, third game in 4 nights should mean that they are, may struggle to score in this one as well. I think the Clippers get it done. I'm not taking them to win by double digits, but I do think that they get it done today. That's not really saying anything because I'm not taking them on the money line. But I do think that, probably looking towards a total, I expect the Clippers defense to play well, and the Pistons, not to really score a lot of points in this one. So I'll probably be looking towards the under in this game, but I haven't played anything official on that one either. I might not even have an official play today, even on the evening show. Like I kind of feel like there's so much parity in the NBA that I might just sit back and kind of watch, give you guys the information, of course, as always, because I enjoy digging into these games. But until some things start to go right, man, I might just kind of, relax and kind of see what's going on. Jeff said, and how about Portland, number 5 in defensive efficiency? And I think Indiana is one of the most undervalued teams at the moment. Yeah, they are. They are, Jeff, especially getting Miles Turner back. Dudes look really solid for them. Ben Mathurin had another 20-point night last night. He's continuing to flourish and look good in his role. So yeah, I would agree with that, Jeff. I took the Hallie over assist. I don't know who gave that out. That was Ben. Ben Simmons gave out Halliburton assist, saying that he was averaging 25 and a half, I think, potential assists over the last 5 or 6 games. So yeah, Kings will have their way. Kings should have their way. It really depends on motivation though, right? Like after you've won a few games in a row, are you going to take a team serious like the Spurs? I think a lot of the covers that the Spurs have this season is due to the culture that Greg Popovich puts in place, and you just don't know like who is really getting up for the San Antonio Spurs. Should you come out here and crush them? Yeah, but after a big win, this Kings team is young, right? A lot of guys on that team's not even 27, 28 years old yet. So, you think about that veteran presence. I know that they have it in a guy like Harrison Barnes, but they don't have a lot of veteran leadership on their team. So, it could be a game. KC said back with all these games today. The Nets stink. Nets a dog at Portland. Yeah, the Nets are a dog at Portland. They are a dog at Portland. Portland look really, really good, man. Hey man, I hope you guys can do with the information that I shared something that helps, right? Like I said, nothing official for me. I might not even have an official. Like I said, a lot of parity going on right now, and I'm not gonna force anything, man. I'm not gonna force anything. I don't know why he got him balling out. Know something? I don't know, bro. Pop. It seems like the Spurs get popped and then they come back and they come with a extremely good effort. Is what I'm seeing anyway. They go to Golden State, they get smacked up, then they come back on the second night of a back-to-back, and they play extremely well in a game that they could have won against Portland. So I don't know what to expect from the San Antonio team. It's really, really difficult. I don't, they are tanking for the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, but they come out here and they play hard sometimes, and then they got other nights where they get smacked up like they did against Toronto, losing by 40. So, like I said, motivation is really important in these games too. So motivation for me says you take Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn gave up 153 points coming off a 30 plus point loss. Brooklyn should be the motivated team if I'm looking at any team to be motivated today, right? So, like I said, take with the information and do what you guys want, man. I'll be back for the evening show at 5:15. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the videos if you haven't already. We will get hot. We will get hot. You guys can bet that. I'm not running away from my losses. You can bet that I'm going to be here every single day, 2 times a day, most days. And, best of luck to you guys on your action today, man. I hope you guys cash everything that you play.